this drug. I couldn't stay messy on it. I hadn't had a cigarette in 6 hours, hadn't eaten. So, abstemious and tidy. What was this? A drug for people who wanted to be more anal retentive. I wasn't high, wasn't wired, just clear. I knew what I needed to do and how to do it. I can think my way out of it, knife. Listen to me, it'll come on in 30 seconds, and you'll think your way out. That's what it does.
Yes, my shit right here. Say what, that's my shit right here. Welcome back to another episode of Road to William. Y'all, today we are reviewing the film Limitless. This was my first time seeing the film. I thought it was a really fun movie to watch. People were saying that, because I be on Reddit. Reddit is where it's at. Some people said they were talking about like Adderall or different substances of drugs, but not labeling it. But whatever that temporary high is, that temporary feeling is, it kind of explains all temporary highs, temporary lows. It kind of tries to find a balance. But when you've been living in a low for so long and you find your high or what have you, or that thing that kind of drives you, it's hard to stay away from that. So, played by Bradley Cooper, he played a character called Eddie Mora. And if you've seen the film, hit the like button, comment what your favorite part of the film was. But Eddie Mora was this guy who he's just been kind of floating through life and almost like giving up in life, not really taking things too serious. He had a lack of drive, lack of motivation, all that. And so he runs into, oh, he's a writer. He's a writer. He's kind of like in this writer's block. He don't really know what to do. He's bragging to his friends about how he has this like book contract, but he's not really doing anything with it. He's kind of just lollygagging with his talent. And then he runs into an ex's brother, and his name was Vernon. And Vernon was, when you first saw him, he was upbeat. He had a lot of life in him, a lot of possibilities, hopes, dreams, walking around. And he runs into Eddie and was like, yo, how's life been? Kind of just trying to catch up. And he was just looking at Eddie and knew something was just off and wrong. And he was like, let me help you out. He's like, I can help you get out of this slump. Eddie's kind of in disbelief, like, okay, like he's probably heard that many of times. And he gives him this like clear gelled pill. It's basically, he doesn't really tell him too much about it, only that it'll help him make him feel better or whatever. And like that one's on the house. That it costs 800 a pop just to get it. So he's like selling them. He's like, you know what? Here, just have it. I gotta go. I gotta make some runs type of thing. So Eddie takes it, and this is part of the result of him taking it. Let me find the name of it. NZT 48. It's a designer drug that maximizes his cognitive abilities. It gives him perfect memory and allows him to analyze details previously missed. With one pill, he cleans his apartment, solves his rent problem, and cranks out a draft of his book. So it basically changes his life to a level he never thought changed. I thought it was a good film because it kind of reignites something in you. It's saying that we have the abilities within us already, but when we take something or feel like we have to be around people or certain events to feel that with inside us, feel that boost, I think the movie was basically saying like you have all the things you think you don't have. You're taking these things because you think you lack it. But it wasn't that he lacked the skill or anything. It was that he lacked the drive. And that's why I think some people were comparing it to like the Adderall thing. Um, but if something gets you to a high, it's gonna come down on the low. And so the next day he woke up, like he was living his life that whole day. Like I said, he had everything. He got everything done. His place was a mess. He cleaned his spick and span. He got his book The publisher was even kind of looking like, whoa, like I thought it was going to take you years to do this. And writers say it does take years to kind of make a good book. He was crashing. He got it to her in like 4 days or something like that. And so the next day, it's immediately like out of his system. He feels like crap again. Now he's kind of trying to find Vernon. Where are you? Like, I need more of that stuff. So Vernon at this point is a little more stressed out. He finds him at his apartment, and Vernon is just kind of like slunking on the couch, no motivation, no drive. He's kind of like scared, scared a little bit, nervous. People are looking for him. We don't know why, but you get to the point where you're like, oh, it's because of this pill. So I don't know. Certain scenes be kind of like messed up. It's 800 a pop. Eddie has no money. He barely can pay his rent. He's not doesn't have any books. Like I think he banged his landlord to like buy time on rent. I think that's why. Yeah, that is what happened. So he don't really have money to like just keep buy this product that like revamped his life. He's like basically working for Vernon and working for these pills. But then one day he comes back to Vernon's place after running errands for him and finds Vernon unalived, gone. Like, bro, what's going on? What happened to Vernon? He's been killed, murdered, or done. He ends up finding like his stash of like money, those gel pill, the NZT 48, like a nice bag of them, and some other stuff. And so he grabs it, but he called the cops. He was like, look, something's going on. They're kind of like in the air of like if he's a part of it or not, but they let him go. So Eddie kind of continues living his life. I forgot to mention in the beginning of the film, he had a girlfriend named Lindy, and Lindy left him because the lack of drive, no motivation. He ended up getting her back. He ended up getting her back when he's like revamped, revitalized the life. But I think one of my favorite parts of the film is Lindy's character because played by Abby Cornish, because there was a point in the film where she had to take the NZT 48. And I was like, oh, snap. Like, it's almost like the Matrix. You're like, what's happening? Like, boom, 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 boom. This was made in 2011. And yeah, that was pretty fire. That was probably one of my favorite scenes of her in her own action. Lindy kind of just like running. You'll see that. I'll try and find a clip of that scene. That scene was pretty fire. Then there's this character who, and he's kind of like this loan shark. He wants his money. Then you kind of see a version of him. You see different versions of people taking NZT 48 for different reasons. You see Eddie take it. He's trying to revamp his life, his career. He's having fun again. Lindy, she takes it, but she's taking it out of survival mode. She's like, I gotta like try and figure out how to get away from this guy who's trying to like kill me, right? But she watched this guy kill two people. And the guy's really after Eddie. And you figure out why at the end. But Lindy has to run away from this guy. And she ends up getting away, but it was like a dope scene. But then you have this guy named Jen, he is that guy where you're like, okay, maybe not everyone should take this drug, right? Because everyone's intentions are different. Everyone's intentions is not the same as Eddie. It's not the same as Lindy. Like Jen is kind of like that character. Like he's a bad guy. He's gonna continue to do bad shit. But he started dressing better. He started having his own security. He's like, I'm gonna get out the game. I'm trying to start my own business and do because what NCT 48 was doing was like opening their minds up, opening their whole ability to function their whole brain in their life. So they were using their brain at 100%. So it was kind of that tapping into that world of what if humans could use their whole brain? What would it be like? It's like evil is still going to be out there, good is going to still be out there. It's just going to be at a heightened level because everybody's on this NCT 48. Then there comes Robert De Niro, one of my favorite actors of all time. He plays a character called Carl Van Loon, and he's this like top businessman, investor, and he's trying to revamp his own company, and he runs into Eddie. He likes what he's doing, and he's like, I'm gonna bring him on my team. Let's see what you can do. And he doesn't really like Eddie as much because you don't really know this in the beginning, but later on you realize, oh, he realizes he's on that NZT 48 because at a on a regular day, nobody's really functioning that high 24, 25/8. So he's like, the only way somebody's able to do what he's doing and really expand his mind is because he's on that thing that's opening up his old brain, which, you know, Carl kind of represented that person of like, I don't do that, or I don't do drugs, or I don't want to enhance. He's kind of like that. I don't want to do it, but I want to use people who. And so it was a nice twist in the movie that I wasn't expecting. There was times where I loved and hated Carl's character because it was like at some point he was like seemed like a dickhead, but at the same time he was like making a lot of sense. You're like, what the? But overall, good film. IMDb rated it as 7.4 out of 10. I'd give this like a good 8, 9 out of 10. I actually like the way it ended because Lindy left him again after that fighting incident. She got away, but she was like, I did things that I would never regularly do before. And I didn't really like that. And she left him again because she was like, if that's what you want to stay on, I can't be with you. But he ends up getting her back again at the end because one of the twists was that people started like dying off of this NCT 48. There was like terrible side effects. They kept saying, "Oh, it's FDA approved. It's FDA approved," and they realized it wasn't. And then, so people were dying off of this. People were harming themselves, all that. And so Eddie caught wind of that. He started getting his own like scientists and labs to kind of just, how can we make this better? What are, so it's not like you're dying off of this or getting terrible side effects. Like, what is the best way to kind of mimic this but make it better? And that's what he did. So he didn't end up crashing out like everybody else. He ended up tweaking it. And Carl's character showed people will try their hardest to bring you down. They'll maybe even acknowledge your greatness, but they know that thing, you know, that it that could bring you down and will build a whole fortress around it. And so my favorite character of this film was Eddie. Although Jen's character was funny because it was funny how he revamped his life too, even though he's supposed to be this like bad guy. It was funny seeing him kind of like take control of his own life. Like you're getting out the game, like you're about to do something different. It'll change your life if you let it. Um, but yeah, let me know how you felt about this film. I'd definitely watch it again. It's funny. It's like to the T of these highs and lows. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your favorite part of the film and your favorite character. All right, peace.